All right, so welcome. Today, our topic is all about building your email list. I'm going to let Jenny dig into how we are going to build our email list, but we have guest speaker Jenny Wright here today, who's going to lead us through all sorts of information about leveraging bundles and summits and growing our email list. So, Jenny, take it away.
Absolutely. So I love interactive. If anybody wants to ask questions while I'm doing this and you're here, great. Go ahead and just throw those in the chat. I love interactive. So if you are here and you would like to, just put in the chat what it is that you do, what kind of business that you have, or how long you've been in business, or maybe even also like how much lead generation you've done in the past. I'm going to be talking about bundles. I'm going to be talking about summits. I'm also going to be talking about the different types of lead gen within those to make them most effective. So, I see a couple people here. If you just want to drop in to chat what it is that you do, like what kind of coach or service provider you are, all those things, I can tailor this content to sort of fit what you're doing. So having said that, anybody here ever done a summit or a bundle in the past at all? Or well, Annie, I know you have. Do you count in this? Yeah, you do count. Absolutely. So sounds like there's a couple people, which is great. We have Chandra, who's a financial coach and life insurance agent, and Carmela starting a job on a marketing campaign where you'll help code a website. Oof. And they will talk a lot about email lists. Yes, they 100% will do that. That is 100% what's going to happen. So when it comes to list building and lead generation, the goal is to constantly have a list of incoming leads or prospects that overcomes the amount of people that we have through attrition. And if you don't know what attrition is when you have people coming into your list, but there's more people leaving through unsubscribes and so on. And the whole goal is that if you have 100 people come in, then you have 120. If you have 100 people come in, you have like 25 that leave. And if your number of people leaving is higher than the number of people coming in, that's where you get a decline in your email list. And so I have been doing this for 13 years, so let me just give you a quick indication of who I am. I'm a list building lead generation expert. I'm a fractional CMO, which is a chief marketing officer. I'm that in two different companies. And I have done about 450 online summits and about 50 bundles in about 250 or 300 webinars. So I know a little bit about the space of list building and lead generation. And what I'm going to share with you today is the stuff that I have through success with 4-figure, 5-figure, 6 and 7-figure companies so that you guys can use all this. Everything that works in a 7-figure company works in a 5-figure company or less. It just looks a little different. Okay. Chrissy, career coaching business, and working on lead gen, mostly going off of referrals. And Annie's amazing how to get clients course. Yeah, her course is incredible. Referrals are great. Eventually referrals can dry up, right? So you constantly want to have new leads coming in. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So the first thing that we're going to break down is basically bundles that build, and summits that take you from like 0 to 1,000. These are the two topics we're going to cover. And so I kind of want to tell you about my first, I want to tell you a quick little story before I get any deeper. And that is the size of your list doesn't matter to me. As somebody who produces summits, podcasts, and bundles, I don't care about your list size. I care about the quality of your list size. And when I started back in 2013, I fell victim, I guess, of my own doing to a coach that promised me that if I did a summit, I'd get 5,000 new leads and I would be making 100 grand within 6 months. That was the promise. And I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. 2013 Jenny was not as smart as 2025 Jenny. It wasn't as savvy. And I fell for it. I invested $7,000 in a program. I was in a group with 213 other women. And I think out of the 213 other women, I think only about 30 people ended up succeeding out of that. Everybody else fell flat. Now, I'm not going to say I fell flat. I did a summit. I got 393 new leads, and out of those 393 leads, I worked my butt off with them and ended up generating a six-figure business. But I was also a service provider, right? Thank you, Ernie. I closed 17 clients in my first year. I closed 38 clients in my second year, and so on. And I kept closing 30 clients a year. That's how I got to, as many summits as I've done. And my prices have obviously gone up through that. And all right, let's talk about. I'm going to shift and tell you all about bundles, Chrissy. Or yeah, I'm going to talk about bundles. I'll explain what they are. I'm going to explain what summits are. So a little bit of background there. Let's talk about what a bundle is and what a summit is. So these kinds of list builds are called list build events, list injections, and what you're doing is you're borrowing other people's audiences. Okay, so you're creating an event where you as the host would be the expert per se, and you're inviting other course creators, service providers, coaches, authors, or whatnot in order to borrow other people's audiences. And so what you do is you're either conducting interviews or you're asking people to share an interview or share a session like I'm doing right now, but maybe with a PowerPoint or so on. And you gather all those up. Maybe you have 12 to 24 new, experts that are going to do this with you. And you pre-record all your sessions if you're doing interviews. And then on a date to be determined in the future, you release those. So as an example, October 1st, your summit's going to launch. You have 24 experts. You interview all 24 for 25 minutes, kind of like little mini podcast episodes. And you share with your experts that on October the 1st, the summit's coming out and you'd like them to promote. I always make it mandatory to promote for my speakers. I always say, if you want to be part of this, you're promoting. And the reason is that a lot of people will participate in your summit, but they don't want to promote. And that is a big no-no in my books. I'm a big believer that if you are going to participate in a summit, you should actually promote it. Promo is just sharing on your social media and also sharing in your email. And I'll give you my best secret. Okay. Most people say, if you're on my summit, I'd like you to do 3 social media posts and 2 emails. And I don't do any of that. Instead, I open up a negotiation. Instead, what I'll say is, Chrissy, I'm so happy to have you as a speaker on my XYZ summit. I'm excited. This summit requires promotion from all speakers in order to participate. What would you be willing to do in order to help promote this event? That opens up a negotiation, because what I've had happen is I've had people say, instead of 2 emails and 2 social media posts, they say, oh, okay, well, why don't we do a podcast episode together? You can go live in my group. I'll do 4 socials and I'll send 3 dedicated emails. Does that work for you? And I'm like, heck yeah. And inside I'm like, that's more than what I wanted. But I don't say that. And so by creating an opportunity to have that conversation, I'm allowing for us to have the conversation. Now, if somebody comes back to me, and Carmela, I'm going to use you as my example. If Carmela says, I don't do social, but I'll send an email alert, or the opposite, I don't do emails, but I'll put out 1 social post, that opens me up to have a conversation with Carmela and say, look, I understand you want to do 1, but 1 is not going to be effective enough. Can we negotiate a different outlook for this? Can we look at, like, would you be willing to do 3 social media posts and a newsletter alert? And then that negotiation happens. Instead of me dictating what people need to do, create the conversation, you're going to have a better result. Okay? Much better results if we do it that way. So summits are collaborative efforts, usually with an interview. They usually have some live sessions. They're very bespoke. You can make them exactly what you want. You can make them feel or look however you want. I did a summit about 4 years ago for a client where everybody dressed up as their alter egos. Unicorns, dogs, cats, whatever they wanted. That was the whole summit, was alter ego. I've done summits in health and wellness, relationships. I've done summits about trigger topics that I won't bring up. I've done summits at every range you can think of, and they're all bespoke. One of my best summits that I did for a client was a recovery summit for women who had been through domestic abuse. and it was a very big turnout. And we would do things like 7 a.m. yoga. We had a grab your wine and get online at 7 o'clock at night if that was your choice, and everybody would have a conversation, right? Like really good stuff. So summits are very collaborative, and that's how you grow your email list from them. So you can end up with 350 new leads, or you could end up with 3,500. Really depends on the quality of speakers that you get, and it really depends on the audience that you can access. Topics that do well with summits are relationships, sex, um, anything to do with making money, nothing to do with the boring topics of like business administration, right? Those aren't fun topics, but anything to do with health and wellness, weight loss, um, perimenopause is a massive opportunity right now. If you're in that space, do summits and bundles. You'll get your email list growing incredibly high and big. It's great. But let's switch over and talk about what bundles are. The reason I explained summits before bundles was on purpose. So think of a bundle as a deviant from a summit. So instead of doing interviews, a bundle is a collection of products. The products are not meant to be the free products that you can get on anybody's website. They're meant to be the products that are available that would be normally paid. So if you were to go to my website, jennywright.com, and you were looking at my products, you're going to see Summits Made Simple Speaker Attraction Bundle, or Summits Made Simple Promo Bundle. Okay, and those have a price attached, 97 and I think 127 or 137. Those are products that people buy and they have a price. But if somebody invites me to a bundle to participate, this would be the product that I might put in there, if appropriate, available for free. Okay, so you could have 50 to 150 people participate in your bundle, meaning they contribute a product and they give that product for free within your bundle for a certain amount of time, usually 60 days. Or, there can be a difference in that, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And it's always a product that's never available for free. The reason that bundles are super cool is you don't have to interview anybody. So it cuts down on the time. They're easily repeatable, meaning you could do many in a year. You could do 4, 5 in a year. Summits, I only recommend that you do 2 in a year because they're time intensive. And bundles, once you have one set up, you just rinse and repeat over and over. If you have the ability in your brain to support and coordinate more than 20 people at a time, like if you can do 50, 60, 70 people in a bundle, then you can have a bigger, better result at the end, right? So a summit, you can only handle about 24 to 36 speakers. That's the upper level because it's just too many people to handle and too many interviews to record. But a bundle, because you're not recording, you're just gathering data and then putting it out into the world at a certain date for about 7 to 10 days. It's easier and you can handle more people. Does that make sense to everybody? Is there any questions about bundles or summits so far? If you want, drop them into the chat and I'll answer any of them as we go.
Thank you for clarifying.
Of course, absolutely, absolutely. And if you want, was that Chandra?
Yes.
Awesome. And you said that you're a financial coach with life insurance and a life insurance agent. Okay, so you have one of those. You have one of those jobs that is essential, but and don't kill the messenger, but quote unquote boring, right? But I've done summits in your space, and I've done bundles in your space. Bundles work incredibly well in your space, Chandra, because nobody has to listen to the interview, which they might think is quote unquote boring, but they get the products that make them really, really excited, right? And so if you were to do a bundle and think of collaboration over competition, this is where you're the expert because you're the financial coach, and you would pull in adjacent or niche adjacent people with you. So what goes along with financial coaching, right? So it's life planning, it's how do you invest, it's 401k if you're in the States, or RSPs if you're
Yeah.
in Canada, that kind of stuff, right?
Budgeting, debt consolidation.
Exactly.
increasing your credit scores,
All of that. So you could create a bundle where you're the financial coach and you're selling the program product service off the back end, but you have these adjacent people, right? And you can branch out pretty far. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be like, you could do mindset, like money mindset, have a money mindset coach who provides a course. You could have people who talk about legal stuff like contracts and things to protect your business, right? So you can do all of that within a bundle, and it's easier for you than to do a summit. And you can do that 2-3 times a year. And what you do is you pick a slightly different topic every time, like planning for retirement or newly divorced. These are the products and services you need, right? Or thinking of starting your family, right? So you have your family friendly financial fun bundle. Okay, like use the F's, right? And have fun with it. And you could create bundles like this that then attract people in. And you could get 200 new leads to 2,000 new leads, right? It depends on your ability as a marketer. And if you're not good at marketing and you're not a good marketer, then you get somebody like me who produces it for you, right? Who has the marketing to be able to do all that in the back end for you. But that's a really good example. And then, Chrissy, with what you're doing, and you're running off referrals right now, right? You have a coaching business. What kind of coaching is it? I can't hear you.
I'm trying to turn. Can you hear me now?
I can.
I'm a career coach.
Okay. So is this career improvement or like changing? Is this for women specifically?
It's not
So-
specifically for women. I've been a career coach at the university level in the past. Right now, it's just been, referrals for people who are looking to update their resume, cover letter, if they're looking for interview preparation, if they're looking for, just a place to get started. If they're younger, earlier on in their career, I do assessments, things like that.
Okay. And what do you sell?
What do I sell
What's
right
the-
now?
Pardon me?
What do you mean by sell?
What do you offer as a service?
Oh, got it. Resume, cover letter review. I do career preparation, consulting time.
Okay. So what you would do is you would either do a bundle. Okay, because again, you're in one of those niches that to listen to interviews, you may not get the audience that you're looking for, but
Yeah.
you can branch out big for a bundle. And so you would do a bundle, and I would tell you to do a bundle that is specific to one particular audience, right? Because you can do cover letters and resumes and all that kind of stuff for probably a lot of niches outside of the university level, correct? Perfect. So why not do one for women,
Mhm.
right? Specifically for women who know their worth, but don't feel their worth is valued in the job that they're in,
Mhm.
right? And so you can branch out from that. You can have people who are in the thought leadership space. You can have people who are in all the different spaces of mindset. You could even have, honestly, you could even have somebody like Carmela offer something in the money mindset side of
Mhm.
things as a financial coach, that kind of thing, right? So you can see these different weird little partnerships that can be created,
Mhm.
and you'd be able to have 20 or 30 people on your first bundle, maybe more on your second, or even more, I'm not sure. What you could offer as a really cool, and this is the best part, guys, summits and bundles are free to register, but you have the opportunity to create a VIP upgrade, something to make money right away. And Chrissy, what you could do is you could offer a template bundle. Get my top 5 cover letter and resume templates that have landed 6 and 7 figure jobs, as an example, for women in these 5 different niches or blah blah blah. And you could offer that. Also, what you could do is you could train up an AI, a ChatGPT, to write really good interview questions, to do interview prep, and you could give that for free.
Okay.
Right? So things like that. And that would
Thank
help you
you.
grow your list. And that would actually be a really good lead magnet to create for you. Right? Because interview questions, right? But train up
Mhm.
that GPT for that. That would be a really good thing. Okay, and then you had another question that I'm going to answer right now before I get back into what I was going to say. And Chrissy, you're asking how to get on other people's bundles. This is once you're in it, you'll be inundated. So I'll give you the secret on how
Great.
I
If
get
I
onto
start,
it.
does it, yeah, follow
Yeah.
along?
So what you want to do to get on other people's bundles is you're going to create what I call the stupid simple package. Okay, you're going to go into your Google Drive. You're going to create a folder, and you're going to put into that folder it's going to be your media folder. So good headshot, 3 different bios, all third person. So 150 words, 350 words, 500 words, right? Include more than one headshot, please, if you have it. So like 3, 4, 5 different headshots. Then you're going to do the descriptions to the gifts that you could give in the bundle, the ones that would cost money that are not available for free. Right? And so for yourself, it might be a new career calculator, right? Enter the information and find out what career you blah, 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 or find out what other people are paying other people in your career, something like that. And so you would write a descriptor for your paid offer that you would offer for free. Give 2 different choices in there at 2 different price points, one at the 97 or less price point and one at the 127 and more price point, because bundle hosts either have it as like a $5 to $100 range, and some people have it as $100 to $350 range. Okay, so you would have that. Also, in there, if you have any appearances that you've ever had, like, you know, if you have a sizzle reel, if you have, you know, you've been on a podcast or you've spoken from stage, put that in there. And it's kind of like your little package, right? Then you're going to go into Facebook groups, because this is where these Facebook groups still work. Facebook has been not in its prime, but it still has the ability to help us. And you're going to go to Facebook groups and you're going to search for find a guest and be a guest. Now they're podcasting groups, but they work for bundles. So you'll see people posting in there, hey, I'm hosting a bundle in the fall and I'm looking for blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
There is a person in my email list that is always looking for people to be on their bundles. So I'm going to give you a name of somebody. Her name is Stephanie Treasure, is somebody who's always looking for people to be on her bundles. And once you're on her list, if you've applied for a bundle, then you're on her list and she'll continue to stay in touch with you about that. There's other people like that. So you want to find people who are doing bundles on a regular basis and then join their email list. And because they talk about it, I think another one might be Angela Tompkins, but I'm not, like, her name is not sticking in my head right now. If that's the person, but if I figure out the name, if you send me, you know, you can send me an email or something or DM me on Instagram, and if I remember it, I will connect you with that. And he says, yes, yes, bundles of bundles. Bundles of bundles is an incredible Facebook group to find bundles as well. Yeah, and Cat Get Social, yes, catgetsocial.com, yes, that one too. So there's a lot of different places you can go to find them. Now, I'm going to give you guys a caveat about being on bundles. Be careful. There are some people who will take advantage of you in terms of asking you to pay to be on a bundle. Now, I have paid to be on a bundle, and it is totally okay to pay to be on a bundle. But there are some people who are just there to take your money. So be careful. Only work with people who are reputable, like Annie, right? Only work with people that you see, like I would look on bundle or summit pages and see who the other people are. And if you see somebody like Annie on it, do that. Like, join that one. Right? So you just want to stick with reputable people. Reputable people. Chandra, you had a question?
I just wanted you to repeat the Facebook group, like podcast something.
Yeah, so I'm pulling it up right now, actually. Annie Brie Boucher, I think she's gonna close that group. I think she might be closing that group at some point. But
well, let's talk her. I really appreciate her stuff is good. So is I love the one you're talking about, the finding us, needing us. I go on that one.
Yeah, I think Brie Boucher sent out. So Brie Boucher is a really big person in the bundle space, and that's the Facebook group, the Bundles of Bundles. So she's transitioning over to a paid model where if you want to access the bundles that people would promote, you have to pay a monthly membership. And so I'm pretty sure the Facebook group might be getting transitioned out. but it might be wrong. It looks like people are still posting for bundles, so I might be getting that wrong. But Chandra, for you, let me do this. It's find a guest, be a guest. Okay, so I'm gonna drop a Facebook group into the chat. So it's also a good thing to get on podcast, but go check that one out as well.
Okay, thank you.
It's my pleasure. All right, so let's get back in there and get back to, I love being able to go back and forth and support you all. And I have a couple more things that I want to talk about. So getting on a summit or a bundle as a speaker is also incredibly good because it's less work, right? You don't have to host it. But you also don't get to reap the reward of the full list. Some bundles that I've been on, I only get 20 to 30 leads, and sometimes they're not that great. But if I'm the host, I get the whole list. And then I can push them through my program, product, or service offerings, right? Which I think is really, really good. And so I'll do that. So one of the things that I want to make sure that I talk about is summits and bundles work off of optimization for your opt-ins. So your registration page, and go look at Annie's pages because they're fab and they're awesome. But go look at the pages that Annie puts out for the different products and services and the summits and everything that Annie does, because those convert. I know they convert well because I'm a conversion specialist, so I can see it. But you really want to make sure that your landing pages convert well. I'm going to recommend that you stay away from some of the really basic landing page builders, right? So as an example, no, I'm not knocking this service because it's good for some people, but it doesn't convert. And that would be something like Simplero, right? Not a very good page builder, in my opinion. To convert, you want a page builder that you can really make work well. Now you can use something like Elementor in WordPress. You can use Go High Level or like FG Funnels as an example. That's Go High Level with a different skin on it. You can use something like Kit if you want to, but Kit is very limited. ConvertKit is now called Kit. Lead Pages does terrible pages in my opinion and don't convert well. So stay away from that. But you want to work with something that'll convert. And if you only have a website right now and you're only using WordPress, that's totally okay. But if you're gonna go in for this and do bundles and webinar summits on a more regular basis, you'll want something that converts better. Thrivecart. Yeah, okay, let's talk about Thrivecart. I have done a bundle in Thrivecart as the back-end coordination and delivery system. Thrivecart has a one-time price. They've had a one-time price for years, and they're always offering a deal. But I can use it for the cart, and I'll use it for the delivery system of the course in the back end because I like it, and I actually use it myself. I don't find the pages convert very well because you must have a cart on the landing page, or people must use a cart and remember to put in a coupon code or so on and so forth. And their pages don't convert as well as Go High Level, ClickFunnels, and sometimes things like Elementor or Divi, right? And so I don't personally recommend it if you want to get a 40% or higher opt-in rate. So if you have 100 people landing on your page and you want 70 of those people to convert, you want a better page in a better page builder. If you don't mind that only 30 people register out of 100, then yes, use those. And you can start your bundles that way. You can start your summits that way. That's a great way to start because it's a one-time price and you can kind of put everything in it, your courses and your products and your affiliate and all of that. And I love Thrivecart for that. But eventually you may and you could outgrow it and you want something that will convert a bit better, and that's where you look at these different level programs. But in the beginning, 100% you can use Thrivecart, 100%. Any questions or anything that anybody has right now? Okay, so let's talk about making money off of a summit or a bundle in order not only to grow your list, because I can grow your list all day long, but I want you to make money. And there's a whole bunch of different ways. We're going to break it into host and contributor. So contributor is anybody who's participating in giving a product or service within a bundle or speaking on a summit. I'm going to put them both in the same bucket, okay? And then there's the host side. So let's talk about the contributor side first. So as a contributor on a bundle or a summit, how can you make money? a lot of people who will register for your free gift are just going to register for your free gift and they could be disappearing right away unless you set up a system in the back end to keep them interested in your own ecosystem. Your ecosystem includes your podcast, your programs, products, and services, your lead magnets, webinars that you do, Q&A sessions, lives, anything like that. That's your ecosystem. Anything where you're creating a two-way conversation or an opportunity to purchase, that's your ecosystem. And so when you have your bundle product as a contributor or your free gift on a summit, your ecosystem that I want you to look at working on is what happens next. And if you just have your enter your name and email to get my freebie or my bundle product, and that's all, right? And there's a confirmation email and they get the confirmation email and nothing happens after that, it's a missed opportunity. And so there's a couple things you can do to make money off of this. One, if you have a program, product, or service that requires a sales call because it's of higher value, it's like a, $1,000 course or coaching program or something along those lines, then you can offer people a call. If you have a course or something that you want, or a membership that you want people to get into, offer, like I love a membership for this. You could offer a 15-day freebie into your membership so they could see what your membership's about, or a 30-day membership for just $1 as an example, or for free. And then afterwards they can auto enroll. Okay, this is where ThriveCart is great. So you would get them to enter all their information to get access to your membership. You're collecting their credit card data. They can cancel at any time within those 30 days. After the 30 days, they would be charged your $10 membership fee. Now you have somebody new to your membership, as an example. So they're in your ecosystem. Additionally, you can have a tripwire. So a tripwire is when somebody registers for your free contributor gift, okay? As soon as they register, you're like, awesome, congrats. I'm going to send you that free thing right now. But before I do, I have this $10 something or other that would benefit, add, enhance, increase what this product is or your experience, right? And you can say, look, it's just $10. I'll send it to you right away. Do that. Another example would be a book. If you have a book that is on on-demand printing, you could do a on-demand book funnel as your little tripwire and have somebody grab your book and they just have to pay for shipping. Here, get the book for free, pay $20, I'll send you the book, right? So free plus shipping kind of thing. If you have another kind of product that might be, a course that could last for like a 6-week course or something, you could give them a part of a module for free, right? To keep them interested in your ecosystem. You see how we're kind of doing this? We're trying to make sure that they stay within our space. I love inviting people after a bundle to come and hang with me on an informational session, like a webinar. I don't call it a webinar, but come hang out on this XYZ. We'll talk about the thing and I'll show you the back end that makes it possible. And that's kind of where I go. So that would be something. So you can always find ways to encourage people to purchase your program, product, or service off the back end. That's as a contributor, okay? As a host, this is where we can make some fun money. You can, as a host of a summit and as a bundle, you can get sponsors who actually pay for extra visibility. 2 years ago, I did a summit with a client of mine. We raised $30,000. Nice to meet you, Chandra. We raised $30,000 in sponsorships just for the summit itself. So we actually sold sponsorships. We sold them at the $1,000 level, the $500 level, the $200 level, all the way up to a $10,000 level. We made $30,000 on sponsorships. Okay, we got a list of 3,700 people to register for the summit out of the host's promo and also all of the speakers. And we closed $70,000 in coaching. And those were $4,000 packages after the summit through booking sales calls. We also sold over $10,000 in VIP sales for a very low VIP of only, I think it was only $67. Okay, so do the math. So that summit was over $100,000 earnings in a summit itself. Yeah, Annie, it's incredible. Had a good time doing it. And so summits are meant to grow your leads. They're free, but you can do a VIP, right? So enter your name and email, get registered for my free summit. And by the way, if you want to upgrade, get all the recordings from the speakers, plus some really cool offers that they're doing. Plus you get 30 days access to my membership. Plus you get a call with me for $67 or $97. You can make some money off the back end of a summit. If you don't want to do sponsorships because it makes you feel uncomfortable or it's not something you're good at selling, don't worry about it. You don't have to. You can just focus on your VIP. Make your summit a 3-day event. Day 1 speakers, day 2 speakers, day 3 sales event. So on the 3rd day, you're engaging everybody in a sales event, which is 90 minutes to 2 hours, kind of like a webinar where you're pulling back the curtain on your program, product, or service and sharing with people how they can be part of it, right? How they can get a special deal. You're creating your offer and your offer bump and all those things in order to sell your program, product, or service. Okay. So that is sort of in a nutshell. I know it's only been about 37 minutes of my full hour, but if anybody has any questions they want to ask, this would be a fantastic time to jump those in. Or if you have specific questions about your niche and you want to ask like, hey, I'm in this niche, what kind of summit or bundle could I run? Or what kind of summits or bundles could I get on? Then let me know. And if not, Annie, if you've got any sort of like questions you want to ask or anything, we can have a little conversation that way too.
Yeah, I'll open the floor. If anyone else has questions, I have a couple in mind, but would love to hear from anyone else, just things that are on your mind.
So absolutely. Okay, so let's wrap this up and then Annie and I can answer those questions together. So now that you know what a bundle is, now that you know what a summit is, and you can look at adding what I call a list injection, because that's what these events are, I want to be transparent about the work involved. Because it is not something that you can stand up and do in 12 days, right? A summit or a bundle takes time, but the rewards are so much bigger than just what you're creating. So let's talk about what that looks like. If you want to plan a summit, give it 90 days. Okay, 90 days to plan a summit. Some people do them in less. I don't recommend it unless you like stress. If you like it, go right ahead. I'll talk to you afterwards. But if you would like to have a stress-free summit, 90 days is the minimum. So it's 3 months. I recommend that you look at doing a summit either in the spring or in the fall. You stay away from Christmas, New Year's, Kwanzaa, everything that revolves around holidays, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and American Thanksgiving. Do not do a summit during American Thanksgiving. Holy crap. That is like the worst time you can do one. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. Western Hemisphere, doesn't matter. Don't do it during that time. Summers in North America are also a little bit of a dead zone sometimes, although you can do like a parental style summits in the summer that aren't bad, especially if you're in the space of like helping kids get better sleep so that parents don't lose their minds. You can do that anytime pretty much except for the Christmas and New Year's style or time of year, because those times are crazy, but you could basically do that summit anytime. Summits take work, but the reward is worth it. You want to look at anywhere between 24 to 36 speakers. Don't go less than 24 in my opinion, because there's always going to be 4 people who do not promote. And so if you only have 18 speakers and 4 don't promote, now you only have 14 and your numbers are going to be smaller, right? There's always people who say the dog ate my homework or my roof fell in on my car or something, and they're just not going to promote your summit. And so you have to build in that expectation into your numbers. That's why my minimum is 24, okay? If you're doing a bundle, you can stand up a bundle pretty fast. If you're coordinated in things like tech, you have a team already, you're good at coordinating things, you could get a bundle up, ready and going in 60 days or less, depending on how good you are now. I like having more time, but again, if you like stress, you go for it. and do that. You can use a lot of, I'm going to tell you the exact products for free, by the way, that you can use that cost no money to do this, by the way. Airtable doesn't cost a penny. You can use that for call for speakers or call for contributor forms. You can organize all of your bundle inside of Airtable completely for free, right? You can do that. To build it, you can use Lovable as an example. So Lovable is a AI website builder, but I caution you, one, it's free, but it's also open source, right? And it's AI. So be careful, but you can create a beautiful looking page for registration using Lovable, and you don't have to worry about trying to use Kit or Go High Level or ClickFunnels or any of those, or even pay the money to have lead pages as an example. As long as you have a Stripe account and somewhere for those email leads to go, like MailChimp or something, you can use Lovable as an example. If you are like AI coordinated, which not everybody is, but that's that. So in that aspect, the best way that you can make these successful is planning, right? Plan ahead to succeed later. That's my recommendation so that you don't have problems. Try and think of every possible thing that could go wrong and just plan for it. And then honestly, you'll have the best potential outcome that you could. You're going to make mistakes and there's going to be something that's going to go wrong technically. Ask Annie how many technical things go wrong in these things. And you just water off a duck's back. Like you just go, okay, that didn't work. Let's move on and figure something else out. So what you do now, if you want, is I want you to think about not sitting on this information. Can you commit to say, I want to be on 3 bundles this year? Go and find them, apply for them, be on them, and participate, and then see what kind of results you can get. And then maybe this year is your year to host. I don't know. Some people have to get really prepared for it, and that's cool. But I really want you to look at what it is that you can do in the next like 30 days to either plan a bundle, plan a summit, or get yourself as a contributor on at least one of those and do that. And then for 2020, like the end of 2025, so for fall, I want you to look at planning your own list build event, whatever that looks like. Mini summit, mini bundle, regular size summit, regular size bundle, but do something that's going to actually add to your list so that you can overcome that attrition and keep growing and keeping people in your ecosystem. That's it.
I love it. Well, you kind of answered one of my key questions, which was, let's say you're all in, you're thinking, I want to go run my first event.
Mhm.
Do you have any advice, like a blog post that's out there or some guide that walks people through step by step how to set up their own bundle with tips and tricks?
You know, if you Google it, there's a lot of people who
Okay.
break that down, but I do caution you. They're the people that do them, there's affiliate links and things like that in there, and there's also sales. So people who are selling a program, product, or service. I will tell you that you do not need to invest in a product per se to be able to run a successful bundle or a summit, not in the age of AI. It's all out there.
Right.
Right. So just you could train up an AI to do this. Where I caution people is where you may have hangups and where you could be the bottleneck, right? So if you're not a writer, sure you could use AI to do all your copywriting, but you have to be careful, right? We've got watermarks on AI. Google is throttling on AI written content on social and so on. So you got to be really, really careful. If you're not a tech person, you've got to find somebody who can do the tech. If you're not a marketing person, how are you going to market this, right? So this is where you have a VA that could support you. And if you have the ability to hire a producer, I'm not trying to push myself, but a producer like myself or others to help produce these events so that you can have the best possible outcome, you do that.
Yeah, awesome.
Brianna has a question. Just to check and confirm, could you say or put into the chat what or who you recommend to use for emails? And are they free or what does it cost? Okay. Let's talk about free and let's talk about cost. If you want to grow an email list completely for free, you can go and use MailChimp. MailChimp still has a free program. You can go and use that. It's limited access to features and it's limited to the amount of people that are actually on your list. You will eventually outgrow it and you will eventually either have to pay for MailChimp or move. I'm not a huge MailChimp fan for growth. but that's okay. Some people are. Just my own personal opinion. What I prefer is to grow my business within an ecosystem of its own. And so I like a product like High Level or Go High Level, depending on how you call it, where you can have your email within it, your landing pages within it, courses within it, your affiliates within it, your website within it, and it's $97 a month. That's what I prefer. Instead of, I'll give you an example. Let me explain this. I moved to GHL a year ago. Before being on GHL, I personally was spending $450 a month on my tech stack. And now I pay $97 because my contracts are in there and all of it, right? You do need to have somebody who understands how to use it, and you can honestly teach yourself, or you can get a good VA to support you with that. But that's where I would put that. System.io, yeah, System.io is pretty good as well. Email, landing pages. I've actually done courses in there. I've done a summit in System.io. It's pretty good. There's some that I don't recommend, but that one actually does work.
If no one else has questions, one question that I think would be really helpful is, as someone who's been on so many of these bundles, you can see the name of something, like, just to give you a visual, when you are scrolling through a bundle page, you're seeing a ton of products and you're deciding, what am I gonna click on, what am I gonna download? So that's what your customer is experiencing. They're gonna look at a whole bunch of options, just like they're shopping on a Macy's website. They're only gonna click on a few. So what is it about the image tiles and the catchy headlines that makes a product downloadable? Because it's one thing to pick the right product, then you have to make it engaging as a marketing tool. So yeah, any tips on that?
100%. It's the same way you buy a book, right? So if you're going to go to Chapters, you're going to go to Indigo and you're going to peruse the aisles, walk through the aisles, or you're going to look at titles themselves. Things are going to pop out to you. So 16-year-old Jenny couldn't get enough of like gothy stuff, right? I was into that, like, dark vampire stuff back when I was that age. And so for me, it was the covers of the books. It was the look, it was the artwork, right? And it was also, then I would look at the title. If the title didn't make sense to me, I'd move on. Same thing goes for bundles. So in a bundle, you have these little tile images. They're squares. They're 1080 by 1080s most of the time. And they're small. You're not going to see very much. You're going to see this little tile. And people are going to make a snap judgment on that visual, and they're going to look at the title usually second, because we're visual people. We're just visual. That's how we are most of the time. If you're unable to do that for whatever reason, then most likely you're going to look at the niche or the genre. And so if you have the ability to see that tile, then you're going to make that snap judgment. What I recommend is that you make that thing as pretty as possible. What works is a bright, but not too bright. I'm not talking fluorescent. Okay, this isn't the 80s. Background color with a visual of what the product is. Okay, not just like teal background color with pink letters done in lobster font. That's not going to work. Okay, like that's like a big no-no. What is the product? So for me, it's a bundle. It's like, it's a download. It's a Google Sheet. It's a this and a that. So I do a visual image of those gathered together as an example. If your product, another one that works actually is to make a GIF. So if you actually go into Canva and you kind of like make a little MP4 of a graphic, that's kind of moving, right? So the title of your product and an image of the product that like slides in or something like that. You can turn that into a GIF or a GIF if you're so inclined, and that can be your little tile if the host allows it. But the look and feel is really, really important. If you're not a graphic designer, you don't need to be, but I would spend either the time making sure you have something good out of Canva, or I would hire somebody to do it.
That's great advice. I think you're spot on. It really is a visual game, and people are scrolling really fast. If a word isn't capturing their attention, and the color scheme and the image, it's good.
Absolutely. By the way, Annie, I just want to take a moment to thank you for the opportunity to talk to your awesome people and answer these questions and sort of share a little bit about this. I'm really grateful that you asked me to do this.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you bring so much expertise. I know we're also getting close to the end. If there's anything else you want to have, because I'm going to send out this recording as well, Jenny, anything you want to share with folks, like where they can find you, best links to connect with you?
Absolutely. I'm really available on social media. So I'm most conversational on LinkedIn and Instagram, and both of them are just my name, Jenny Wright. And you'll see actually, you might actually see a headshot with me in this shirt. I just realized I'm like, I've worn this before. It's probably on one of those pictures. But yeah, just drop me a message and say hi. You can also go to jennywright.com and go and check out my website. Lots of stuff there. But definitely connect with me. And ask any questions that you want about list building or lead generation, marketing strategy, all those different things. I get the privilege to be a fractional CMO, so my abilities go beyond just like list building and lead generation, but that has been historically my focus.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, Brianna, if you have any last questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. Otherwise, I think we can wrap it up there. Thank you, Jenny. This was so awesome. So
Okay.
helpful. I've always thought about being a participant. Never knew so much about the building side, and I've always wanted to learn.
Thanks. It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. Take care, and we'll see you at the next event. Bye.
Take care.